ekavritam veda sa sarvasmai vipashyati yacca pranani yacchana tamidam nigatam saha sa isha eka ekabrid eka eva sarve asmin deva ekabrito bhavanti. This is the Indian religion, and whatever is Indian religion, that is Indian culture. And the culture is based on one. Everything is nothing but the one, and from one everything has come. So that is called the to him who knows this God as one. To him goes the power. So that is the idea. And that idea has come down not only here, but through other scriptures like the Purana. Upanishad is a part of Veda only, and then it is the Puranas, then the Itihasa like Mahabharata, Ramayana, etc. The same thing is coming down, the conception of the one. So the Atharva Veda is mentioning he is the one alone. In him all deities become one alone. So when we discuss about the Hinduism, we always talk about the plurality, so many gods and goddesses. But there is no problem for the Hindus. Why? Because of this Vedic teaching. And this Vedic teaching is coming down, how it is reflected in the lives of people. Now there is a teaching, but how the things are reflecting in the character, in the lives of people. So that is the reason we were studying the Ramayana and Mahabharata. Particularly Mahabharata, so many different type of characters are there. And all these characters are depicting this one theme. Different type of people, different type of responsibilities which are known as their dharmas, as we should not say it is religion, it is the dharma. The dharma means the responsibility. And how a Brahmin who was supposed to meditate, who was supposed to worship, who was supposed to teach the high moral value, became immoral, was supporting the cunning people, was involved in the complete politics, and not only ruined himself, he ruined that position of a Brahman also, and that is Dronacharya. This Dronacharya, he was the famous rishi. His father was a very famous rishi. We know Bharadwaja. The Bharadwaja rishi is very, very famous because many of the people now, if you ask them, what is your gotra? Gotra means it goes back to the root. That is Bharadwaja. This gotra, this coming down from a rishi, and he was the son of that rishi, Bharadwaja. And his mother was Gritachi. This Gritachi and the father, now his father taught him all the scripture and also trained him in military arts. That is the Dronacharya. The Dronacharya, he went to study, as was the norm in those days, to a teacher. His father taught him all the Veda, but at the same time, his father sent him to another teacher. He went and studied with him. That is, his teacher's name was Ognibesha. And he became the master of advanced military arts. Now we get the picture of the society, Didain society, because you have to save yourself. That was the idea. The king was there. If something big is happening, then the king obviously used to come with his people, the soldiers. But the civilians as such, they were not protected by the soldiers or the police or something like that. They had to save themselves first. Second, whenever there was an opportunity or some problems to broke up, immediately all these people, they used to go and work for the king, fight for the king, side by side. So that's why this military art was known to each and everyone, even for the Brahmanas also. But they always opted for the Brahmanhood, that is, meditating, researching on the human mind or on particular subject like the agriculture and different type of things. So they used, most of the people, they used to do the research work, and from there they used to come up. Some of them, they became very famous in astrology or in medicine or in other economy, and also in the puja, that is called the yajnas. So that way it was, and he studied all the scriptures, particularly the Veda. Here the scripture means the Veda. Now we get so many other explanations on the Vedas, like Shankaracharya, Ramanuja, Madhva, and the whole host of them. They are all explaining in different viewpoints have come. In those days it was only the pure Veda, and you have to study the Veda and then you have to understand the Veda in your own way. But mainly in the Veda, they used to say afterwards, when the philosophy developed, and the philosophy, Vaishashika philosophy, very clearly mentioned, all of them they were talking, but the stress was given on spirituality. Only the Vaishashika, that philosophy said, the development of the worldly life, materialistic prosperity, and the development of the spiritual life, both are known as dharma. If something which cannot help us in both, in that case it is not a dharma. Why? Some people may opt only for spiritual development, but there is very few. Majority of the people, that they are left outside, and that is exactly what happened when the Buddhism came. The Buddhism also developed as a philosophy, but stress was given 100% on spirituality, developing the spirituality, and majority of the people could not understand that. So that is the main problem. So here we find these people, they were very practical type of people, though they were constantly chanting, reminding themselves that everything is nothing but the one. Just now we chanted, the everything is nothing but one, the God, but at the same time, to protect themselves from the animals or from the foes, they used to learn this. Why I am telling? Because afterwards we will see this Dronacharya's whole life changed, and he joined afterwards as a teacher of, not as a Brahmana, but as a Kshatriya teacher. And he learned the advanced military art from Agnivesha and the scripture from his father Bharadwaja. And while he was in the school of Agnivesha, he developed the friendship with another boy of his age, Panchala king, the son of Panchala king, Prishata. Prishata was the name of the king. His son was his friend. The Panchal, it was a big country, and it says from Gangotri to Chambal. Gangotri is the extreme north, and down to the Chambal in the middle of India. That was the whole area where it was known as Panchala. Panchali comes from there, and this Panchala, Drona's father Bharadwaj and Drupada's father, Drupada was his friend's name. Drupada's father the Prishata, they were also very close friends. So obviously they became friends, naturally the fathers were friends, now the sons are also in the same school, they also became very close and they developed a very keen friendship. Now, anywhere in any human relation, if you keep an expectation, that creates a problem. That is the teaching of the whole life of Dronacharya. If you keep an expectation, relation is all right. So they became very close friends, and when the friend expected, who expected? Dronacharya. Why? Because he was in the profession of a Brahmana. Income was very meager. So obviously he could not support his family properly as was others. His wife, who also grew up as in the family of a king, though she was the daughter, we will come to up to that, she was the daughter of another rishi, but grew up in the Shantanu's family, the king Shantanu, Bhishma's family. So naturally it was difficult for him to cope with that poverty. But this boy, Drona, his father was an acharya, so obviously he grew up in that economical background. There was no problem for him to, but the wife was not. So constantly she used to ask, why don't you go and ask some favor from your so close friend? Now he is the king of that huge kingdom, and ask for some favor, because he used to go on talking about his friend, as we always do. We always recapitulate those days of our school days and the friends and all that. He used to do that. Then Drona's father, the Drona, the Kripacharya's sister, Droni, and the Kripa, the Kripacharya, she was Kripi, and their son, Kripi and Dronacharya's son was Droni. This Droni became very famous in the whole of Mahabharata as Ashwathama. We don't know him as Droni. We know him as Ashwathama. And it goes that when he was born and the baby cried in such a way, the sound was just like as a horse. Maybe that voice was like that, so he became famous as Ashwathama. And this Ashwathama also did something wrong because of his father, we can say. That Drona started his life as the Brahmana, and the Brahmana's life was poverty and austerity. But his wife was going on requesting him, so he went to Drupada, who was then the king of Panchala. From here begins the life of Dronacharya. How? The whole thing changed. Up to this it was all right. Now when he went over there, if he could understand the practicality, then it would have been a completely different thing, but he didn't do that. He went, so this is how we should learn. Why you were discussing the characters? Because we must have to learn from them. What is that? He went to his friend who was then king. Not the way he met and saw and played and developed the friendship. When he was sitting as a king, he approached, and before each and every one, this poor Brahmin talked as he used to do when they were the students, they were friends. And obviously he became very much annoyed, the king became very much annoyed, and he said, I don't know you. He denied his friendship. And this Dronacharya, he felt insulted, because he said like that, should not have been. Why? He should have thought, now he is the king of a big country. So obviously I have to approach him proper way. Otherwise it will be very difficult. So we had a Swamiji in Andaman. He was a very good person. So he used to tell me, you want some money? I said, Swamiji, not some, lot of money I need. So I have a friend in Delhi, I can go and talk to him. I said, who is your friend? No, the President of India, the then President is his friend. I told, your friend? Are you kidding? Are you sure? No, we met in different places. When I was also there in Rajasthan, he was also there. That time he was not the President ordinary, the V.V. Giri. So we used to meet and talk. So I think I can go and talk to him. And Maharaj, now he is the President of India. It will be so difficult for you to go and to meet. You won't get the timing first. And maybe that even if you go and meet him, it will be difficult for him to recognize you. And then if you go and ask for money, you can imagine the situation. So don't go. Okay, only you purchase a ticket for Delhi, I could go and no, you can go to Delhi, but that will be a complete waste. Then I told him this Dronacharya. And the same mistake Dronacharya also did. Now Dronacharya was so closed with that king, but the Drupada. Even then, when he went and when he approached him as a friend, Drupada was insulted, feeling insulted because so many other people were there. He could go privately, taking that appointment and separately meeting him, and then he could say, I want your help, this is the problem. Maybe as a king, he could help him with some money, there was no problem. But now that his behavior approach was totally different, one should not do that. Both the characters we can say here, that Drupada, the moment he got that position, he became proud first. Second, Drupada, in his own way correct, because when he is sitting as a king, he is not supposed to keep any relation with anyone. He is completely free from all that. Your daughter cannot come, or grandchildren cannot play before you, or the wife cannot come and say this, why you are sitting idle over here on the throne, you better go to the market and purchase. Then the king cannot survive like that. So the discipline, the norms should have been. First mistake Drona did. Second mistake, when he was refused, he became terribly angry. And that goes against the Brahmanahood. A Brahmin is not supposed to be angry, whatever may be the situation. Now, why he became angry? Now, here we must discuss and try to understand anger is nothing but the failure to satisfy my desire. From the desire only anger comes. First is Kama, then Krodha, Bhagavad Gita. Afterwards, Sri Krishna is telling and Sanjaya noting. But Drona didn't learn that. We are learning. And that was the greatest mistake Drona did. Kama was to get some money, recognition. I was better student than you. I am a better archer than you. And even then, just because you were born as a king's son, now you are becoming a king, you have become a king, and I am begging. So he was not satisfied with his own position, but the Brahmana should be proud. We have heard, I didn't see that Swami, but the Swami told in his generation, all the brahmacharyans, so you are not supposed to be proud. But at the same time, you have to keep some confidence that we belong to the group of Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, the greatest sannyasin. Then it comes down in this way, the lineage of the sannyasins. Whenever you were putting on a gerua, remember this, the greatest work that the human being has done, renunciation. And it comes down to Totapuri, then Sri Ramakrishna Puri. From there, through his other disciples, it has come to you. So that way, unless you are having that pride within you, I belong to this group, this is my lineage, this is my family, you cannot hold on and stick to the sannyasi's vows. Because there will be rich people all around and they will be living in a wonderful way. So obviously temptation will be to live like that. Maybe, oh, I am having a lot of qualities, why I can also become a professor, I could go to, maybe that the same college you were studying, and now my friend, he is in a very big position in the college or university, maybe the vice chancellor, I cannot meet him when he is in the university. And suppose I go and meet him, he will say, who are you? Did I meet you before? When you say, oh yeah, oh, you have wasted your life in this way? You were a bright student. And you will think, that's true, I wasted, I lost, all these things are lost now. No, that pride should be, Drona could not keep that. So he got tempted. He wanted a little money to give comfort to his son, and he used to love his son so much. That was another problem. There's so much he used to love, then he could think, we are discussing a character and we have to segregate everything, and we have to understand why we are discussing this character, the Drona character. Usually in the movies, in the books, all these descriptions are there, he did this, he did that, and so interesting. But from that doings and the thinking, his thoughts and actions, we must learn where he made the mistake. He accepted the profession of a Brahmana in the beginning, and his profession, as in the Bhagavad Gita, very clearly it mentioned in the 42 sloka of the 18th chapter, Shamo, Damo, Stapa, Shaucham, Shanti, Arjavam, Ebacha, Jnanam, Vijnanam, Astityakya, Brahma, Sabhavajam. Swabhava. Swabhava means his character. It's natural. Swabhava means natural. It should be natural in a person. What? All this. Control of the mind and the senses, Shamo, Dhamma. Then the Tapa, austerity. And then the purity, Shaucham. And forbearance also. At the same time, uprightness. That is exactly what that Swami said. You must be upright. Why? There may be temptations. There may be failures. There may be many other pullings for your mind. But you have to keep your idea very clear, and that uprightness comes from inside a confidence. I belong to this group. The Geruha, the saffron color that Shankaracharya were wearing, the Lord Buddha is wearing, I am today wearing. So that is a one-way pride. But at the same time, this is not wrong. That helps you psychologically to protect yourself from the pulling, from the temptations of this world. And also the knowledge of the scripture and realization. Some of the knowledges you must realize in your own life. Then the faith develop. These are the Brahmanas' nature by birth. It should be. But it was not there, we find, in the Drona. He became completely different, just like a Kshatriya. And that is why they say, see that one thing is very clear. If you want to follow the path of renunciation, the Brahma Karma, he was a family member, a family man, but at the same time his way of life was very humble, very simple life. If you are satisfied in that, if you are having the faith in that lifestyle, maybe the comfort was not there, but respect was there. But he changed that. Sve sve karmanni virata samsiddhim labate nara. If you are sticking to your own nature, then only you become successful, otherwise not. Now you can very nicely, the some of the example that we find, Subhash Chandra Bose, who became afterwards famous as Netaji Subhash. He also came to Swami Brahmananda ji. He wanted to become a monk, but Swami Brahmananda said, this is not your path. Whatever the inspiration that you are getting from Swami Vivekananda, all those knowledges you should utilize in a different way, because I can see the tremendous Kshatriya character within you. And the same thing comes with the present, the Prime Minister of India. He came to the passed away, our Swami Atmastananda ji. He also came as a student. He also wanted to become a monk. Then he said the same thing, this is not your path. Now, if we really could get this type of gurus, and we can understand what I should do and what I should not, what is my path, just as Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he was teaching, Master Mahashaya, you should not leave the hearth and home. And he was going on praying and inspiring Narendranath to do that. When he heard that the relation is developing, Naren will be getting married, and with the help of the in-laws, he will go to London. That was in those days, that was the main thing. They used to go to London and to study law and all that. Sri Ramakrishna almost ran to Kali Mandir to pray to the Divine Mother. Mother, don't bind him. He has come for different purpose. So the sway, karmanna virata, this is higher, this is lower, not like that. It's the svabhava, it's the nature. He changed the nature, and all through his life we find he was going on thinking in different way, and whatever work he has done, he was not at all satisfied or happy. So that was constantly burning within him, and he was not respected by the community. Many of the people, even Duryodhana, Bhima and others, they criticized him. So Dronacharya, he was having this problem, and this after the Bhishma, he became the commander-in-chief. But that was not directly. Duryodhana never depended on him. Look at it. He gave his all, everything for Duryodhana. He supported all the bad karmas that Duryodhana was doing. So I am not mentioning here so many things he did. But at the same time, Duryodhana was not thinking that he is an honest man. So most of the time we have seen, in the movies particularly, a person who has betrayed his own country for the sake of money. When he goes to that person, another country, then they say, we don't believe you, because when you can betray your own country, your own motherland, for the sake of the money, so naturally you can betray us any time. The most of the time they live or die a wretched death. So Dronacharya, he did so many things as because his own character was different, so he didn't believe. He went and talked to the Duryodhana, consulted with Karna. And Karna, in compare with him, nothing. He was such an accomplished archer. Even then Karna told us, because that man is there, it is better you choose him as a commander-in-chief. Let me see, I will wait. So Karna didn't take immediately after the Bhishma. Though offer was given to him, it was the second chance he got, and after getting it, he ruined the whole situation. Why? As because he was not faithful to his Brahminic qualities. He was not faithful as a Kshatriya also. This is the main thing. Once you are loose everywhere. That's why Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna used to say, do not tell lies even when you are making jokes or funs. Don't tell lies, because once you start doing that, you will lose, particularly those who want to lead a spiritual life. And he used to say, even in the drama, you should take the good characters because that will, the impression will be the good. And if you are taking the cruel characters, the villains, then that type of impressions may come. So for the spiritual life, it is bad. And we find over here, Dronacharya was not dedicated or steadfast as a Brahmana. He was not steadfast as a Kshatriya also. And the Kshatriya, the rules are totally different. Dronacharya not only used sophisticated weapon known to him only against the ordinary soldiers. That was the taboo. One should not have used. Just to impress Duryodhana and just to prove that he is a great hero, and he killed thousands and thousands of people just by using that sophisticated weaponry, which he was not supposed to. Suppose his opponent was Bhishma, then it was all right. Suppose his opponent was Arjuna, then it was all right. But when the ordinary people, they are coming, maybe hardly with a sword in his hand, and he is killing with a sophisticated weapon, that was, in those days particularly, a completely ban in the war law. But he did that. And not only he introduced completely unconventional war system, like killing one by many, which was completely, again, no in those days. When one is fighting with another, others will be waiting. Then after, suppose he become the winner and he challenges, then second one will go, but not at a time all. Dronacharya, only to make the Pandavas weak, he knew Arjuna loves his son. So obviously the young boy Abhimanyu, who was only 16, 17 years old, but he was such a hero, he could really fight with so many great souls and they could not stop him. Then this is the Dronacharya, the most heinous act that he did in his life. He took the help of Kripa, Drona himself, then Kripacharya, Karna, Ashwathama, Duryodhana, Shakuni, all the 6, they surrounded him. Even then the boy was fighting so ferociously, it was impossible for even these 6 great archers and the warriors to subdue him. Then this Drona again said, from the back attack, which is really cowardice. Even today, the soldiers didn't do that, don't do that. It is not considered as heroic. But the Dronacharya told, from the back, you kill first the horses and then kill his charioteers and then make him stand on the ground. And when he is not in the chariot only, he was naturally, in those days they used to keep all their other weaponry. Sometimes he was using these and using that. Naturally he won't be having those things. Then we will kill him, and by that way he killed him. So Krishna suggested that Drona also should be killed because he was in great love with his son, that is Ashwathama. And look at his father. The father, when he is doing a very, very heinous job, he inspired his son also to join with him. Not only that, afterwards we will see this Ashwathama, when all the young boys of Arjuna's and the Pandavas' children, they were sleeping, this great warrior secretly went and killed them. So we cannot appreciate all these people. We cannot accept them as a hero. So they killed Abhimanyu, the young warrior, the son of Arjuna, in a very, very wrong way. The 6 of them surrounded and killed him, that too from the back, not from the front. And the night war, it was completely banned at that time. We know, those who have read the Mahabharata, if the people, they used to go immediately when the sun set, the wars to stop, and they used to go to different the camps. Suppose you don't have the food or you don't have the medicine, they used to visit this enemy's camp to get that help. That was completely all right. Even this Arjuna and all others, they went to Bhishma and told, we know that it is impossible to kill you. Can you please suggest how to kill you? Then Bhishma told, this is the way you can do. So that was the broadness, that was the wonderful way. So that is why in India they always used to say, afterwards when the Britishers came, they introduced, everything is fair in love and war. No. Not everything. Only what is right, that should be utilized in war and love, both. That there was some declared things were there. So this is the way we should have to understand. Now this Dronacharya, Krishna told, as because he has killed Arjuna's son, he has done the greatest mistake and the sin. Now obviously we can also retaliate that by killing his son, but his son was not there. Then Krishna, the God, he said, you go and tell the lies. He asked the Bhima to go and tell. Bhima went and killed an elephant whose name was Ashatwama. And he went and shouted, but he didn't believe. Bhima, he told, no, I don't believe you. You cannot kill my son. My son is more powerful. I am not believing you. But if the Yudhishthira comes and says, then I will believe. Yudhishthira was not at all agreeing. Arjuna was also not supporting at all. See how the deterioration comes. Because of the situation that compelled them to like that, then the Krishna told, this man is killing almost every day 10,000 people every time. And he is doing this wrong way. We have to stop him. And he knows many, many things which he has not taught you as a student. So obviously you won't be able to defeat him. His age was 88 that time, I think. 85. Dronacharya was 85. And he was fighting, as it is the explanation that they are describing in the Mahabharata, like a 16 years young man. So 85 years old. He was tall, he was dark, he was very powerful, and he was having the white hair up to his shoulder and long white beard. That was his. And when he used to fight, that also is to make something to see how he is fighting. So anyway, Yudhishthira went, and he went and said that we have killed Ashatthama, but he soliloquized that it is Kunjara, that is the elephant, not your son. But he couldn't hear that in the din and bustle. The moment he heard that, immediately he said, everything that I have done till now, only for my son. Because his son wanted to drink a glass of milk, which his wife, Kripi, couldn't provide. And that he felt that I must earn something. So he left the profession of the Brahmana, accepted the profession of the Kshatriya, and everything he did for his son. When the son is no more, he thought, it is of no use living like this. Now we find the great personality of this man. He was having so many bad things. At the same time, he was a great yogi. The moment he decided to leave his body, no one could kill him. And he used to wear the body girds in such a way, the armors in such a way, not a single the hit his body directly to. So he was that way real clever, very smart warrior. Then he gave up all his arms and sat over there itself. Just imagine a man who was killing others, who was fighting, whose mind was all ready for the war. Suddenly he left all those things, sat over there, decided to leave the body, and he left the body. And he was uttering the mantra, Puranam Purusham Vishnum Jagama Manasa Param. I meditate on the Purana Purusha, that ancient one. Purana means the ancient. Purusha, who resides within, is the Purusha. And he is Vishnum, all pervading. And I am meditating on him. Param, he is the highest. So I am meditating on the Vishnu, who is the ancient, eternal, and all pervading. That is the way. And he was meditating on Vishnu. Then some of the people could see, like Bhishma saw, and also Sanjaya. He saw that like the electric, the current, sometimes it goes out from his body, a very powerful light flashed out and went somewhere. And he was dead. He was a great yogi. So all these things that we see, at the same time we find is a wonderful character. He was having so wonderful qualities. Only two things he could not control, the kama and the krodha. That's why when you read in the Bhagavad Gita, the Sri Krishna is asking Arjuna that these are the only two enemies of a human being. Now after studying the life of Dronacharya, we understand that is true. Kama esha, krodha esha, rajoguna samudbhava, not sattva guna. Sattva guna goes to the Brahmana, rajoguna kshatriya, rajoguna samudbhava. Then he said, Maha ashana, Maha papma, viddinna ihabairinam. O Arjuna, you must consider they are the real enemies of a human being. This is great life. When Drona, he fell, he died, he was sitting in an erect position. Then the Drishtadumna, he jumped on that chariot, hold those the long ears, and then cut the head of the Acharya. No one could appreciate that. The Drishtadumna, he promised that I will kill you. But it was impossible for Drishtadumna to kill him, to reach Vinyaryam. So now that he was already dead, and people knew that he is already dead, but Drishtadumna, he did like that, and that was the greatest, the thing that no one could appreciate. In both the camp, Drishtadumna was criticized. So this is the wonderful life of the Drona, who became Acharya. Acharya means the teacher. And from his life we understand the tremendous attachment for the children or anything. First. Second, to satisfy some of our desires, and when it is not fulfilled, we should not go and try to get that in any way, and that is called krodha, that anger, because he was insulted, he was not getting the support, proper support to maintain his family. All these things happened, though he was a great. Now the Kripacharya. The Kripacharya, we will in brief we will say, the Kripacharya was very calm and quiet type of person, not much of thing that happened in his life, but the life is very interesting. His father was Sardan and the grandfather was the famous Gautama Rishi. This our Dronacharya's father is Bharadwaja, and Kripacharya's father was Sardan, and the Sardan was a great austere monk, and his father was Gautama. So Gautama's grandson is this Kripa. But Sardan, he fell in love with one lady, married her, and got 2 children. Then that lady left. So what to do with the children? Who is going to help them? So because the 90% of his mind, the Sardan, his mind was for meditation and austerity and all that, though he himself was a great warrior. He learned many of the, as I was telling, that was the norm. Each and every one used to learn. Whenever necessary, they used to apply. But this Sardan, he thought, now I am in bondage, what to do? In the description, they say he left those children on the way in the jungle, and he left them. And then afterwards, the same day, almost the same time, the great king Shantanu, he was coming through that road for this, what's called hunting. The Shantanu was coming for hunting. Though they say that Shantanu came and picked them up, but I think this is not this way. He was a great sage. The compassion for the children, naturality was there. He kept purposely knowing that Shantanu will come. When a great king is coming, Shantanu was a big king. So obviously when he was coming, so people knew that he will be coming and he will enter into this forest, etc., for hunting. So purposely he kept those 2, the twin, a son and a daughter, and on that road. Shantanu came, picked them up, and he said, I have to go back because these children I have to take care. So then Sardan also came to Shantanu and told, they are my children. But from today, you are their father. So Shantanu became the foster father. Though he was born of a Brahmana, these 2, they grew up in the culture and the family of the Kshatriya. And Shantanu gave the name Kripa and Kripi. Then Kripi afterwards, she was married to this Dronacharya. And because the Kripi married Dronacharya, Dronacharya got the job in their family. And her brother, elder brother Kripa, he got education in that family and became a very good teacher in the military art. And not only he was giving the training to the younger generation of that family, the Kaurava family, dynasty, and the many the Kshatriyas, they used to come to learn those things from him. So he became a very famous teacher. He didn't marry, and he was very calm and composed, but he was loyal to that family, so never opposed. So this Kripacharya, though he was nicely grew up over there, but he had a very strong morality. The same Kripacharya again, when the others were talking about killing the children of the Arjuna and others, he said, please don't do that. That is also we appreciate. But at the same time, we find this Kripacharya going along with the Duryodhana to steal the cows from the Virat. How this type of people they used to do like this? Even the Bhishma was going there, Kripacharya was going, of course this Drona went. So all this they went. So naturally, when the war, the great war, it was supposed to, then Duryodhana, he gave the Kripacharya 1 Akshauhini soldiers, as a more than 10,000 soldiers. And he became the leader of that. So Kripacharya, he was very mild type, and at the same time sthira buddhi. That means he was having his perfect knowledge. But one thing happened. As because in the Kripacharya's life we find in this way, he himself was a very nice person. But the association that he was, for a long time the company of the bad people, in the fag end of his life he has mentioned, I am confused. what I should do and what I should not. So that is why again and again it is said, be careful about the company. Just because of the company, when the time came when he was supposed to take the decision, he couldn't decide. Even the brother of Duryodhana, Vikarna, he criticized him that you were sitting over here when our this Draupadi, she was manhandled by the other people. You didn't say anything, but you say that morality, morality. Where is your morality? He could not take up that courage to say, I am no more with you. But the others did. That one or two. So naturally, it was not. But at the same time, we find that when his sister's son, Ashwathama, he was planning, everything was over. He went to meet the Duryodhana who was hiding near a pond. And they said that he used to live inside the water. No, near to the pond. And the Duryodhana, he went and he said, the only thing, if you want to survive, go and beg pardon to Yudhishthira. The moment you say, I am sorry, please pardon me, Yudhishthira will give that. So that was his advice, but Duryodhana didn't listen to that. Duryodhana was depending on this Ashwathama. And Ashwathama again told, and Ashwathama was having that weapon, the famous weapon, by which he could kill each and every one. So the last resort, Duryodhana was thinking and inspiring Ashwathama, you must go and kill. Ashwathama, like his father, though he was a Brahmin son, but at the same time he was not having any Brahmanic qualities. So this Ashwathama, when he was thinking that he will secretly go and kill the young children of the Draupadi's children and the Pandava's children, he said, this Kripacharya, you should not do that. Kuru me bachanam tata, ena paschanna tapyase. Listen to my tata, O dear one, because his sister's son. So please listen to me, O dear one. You should not do that type of work by which you have to repent at the back afterwards. Nabada pujjate loke. You should not kill these wonderful people. If you have to kill, call them for the fight, then you kill them. But when they are sleeping, you should not go and kill them. And when they are suptam iha dharmataha, adharmataha, you should not kill them. So this is, when they are sleeping, you should not go and kill, because that is not the religion. But at the same time, the bad company gave him so much of pain, and he used to say, I cannot take the decision. One whose mind is not calm and composed, this is exactly what happened at the fag end of his life. But the beauty of the Dharmaraja, that is Yudhishthira, when everything was over, then Yudhishthira once again made him the teacher of their son Parikshit. He left the Parikshit at the hand of this, and he is at the when the Dharmaraj, Yudhishthira and others, they were leaving, then the Kripacharya's age was 115 years. But he was still very strong, the 115 years. So obviously, Yudhishthira told, now you have to take care of my children, like the Parikshita and others, as your disciple. So that was the life of the Kripacharya. And Sanjaya was a very low birth, but accepted as a great person, because even the Vyasa, he considered him the only holy person who can have the power of divine sight, no one else. So this Sanjaya, so this from here we learn. I was telling the gentleman yesterday, he came, he is now planning to have a movie episode or long episode like Mahabharata, Ramayana on the life of Swami Vivekananda. He is planning, he is from Bombay, etc. I told that these are the things you must. He came to talk to me, I was not having time. So yesterday when I was going from our ashrama to that, what is called that, the library in Naperville, that time 45 minutes we talked and I was telling. See, in our country, we always and all the time, even today, we used to give the respect to the work that a person, quality of a person, not by the birth. Sanjaya, that way, having that. The Sanjaya, he was with the Dhritarashtra and he was with the Duryodhana, and he constantly reminded them the work that you are doing is not moral, so ultimately all of us are going to suffer. And he was the only person who could understand a few sloka of the Mahabharata, about which the Vasudev said, me and my son and maybe Sanjaya can understand this. So by that, only 3 people, they could understand. It's called Vyasa Kuta. Kuta means very subtle. And Vyasadeva wrote that only for those people who will understand. And Vyasa's son, the great, the Vyasa and, what is it? The great, no, not Pariksha. Acha, it will come. So sorry, now I am becoming old, see? The words are slipping. So this Vyasa's son, that he actually understood, Vyasa also understood, and Vyasa is mentioning only this maybe Sanjaya could understand. So we find the Sanjaya in the Mahabharata, the end that when the great war, in the end, he was arrested by Satyaki. He also went and joined in the war, and he was having some great soldiers that was given to him. That was 400 great soldiers. He was leading them. He was fighting against the Pandavas. Then ultimately he was arrested by the Satyaki. Vyasa himself came and told, don't kill him. Whatever he is doing as a dharma, as because he is leaving and getting the help from that family, so naturally he has to come for the fight, for the war. As a Kshatriya, he did, but don't kill him. Satyaki didn't kill him. Yudhishthira afterwards, when everything was over, Shukadeva, the great sage, how could you forget that? This Shukadeva was understanding, and this Vyasa and Sanjaya. So in the same label, can you imagine? Yudhishthira understood the greatness of the Sanjaya when everything was over, when Yudhishthira became the king. The first person Yudhishthira chose for his ministry is the Sanjaya. And he said, Sanjaya should be my finance minister, Artha. So Sanjaya was respected in that way. Yudhishthira had complete faith on him, and that is the greatness of the Yudhishthira, to understand a person. Just because he was in the enemy camp, he is a bad person. No. You have to see the quality of the person and how he can work. That is the greatest quality we find in the Yudhishthira. Thank you, friends, thank you, devotees, for this thing. And 3 great character today we have studied. One, that Dronacharya, and we have learned that too much of attachment to anything of this world, and then to satisfy that particular attachment, the anger that ruins the whole life, at the Dronacharya happened. Then the Kripacharya, he was a wonderful person, but for a constantly the long time he was in the bad company, and that ultimately disturbed his mind, and he could not concentrate, and he lamented, now I cannot concentrate. And finally Sanjaya, who was such a great personality, though he was born as a son of a charioteer, even then he was accepted as a great person, and he was all through the personal advisor to the kings, and then finally Dhritarashtra, and then finally he was accepted and given the responsibility as a finance minister by the Yudhishthira. So these are the great souls. We will learn about them, and then we should try to apply in our own life also. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om.